Welcome to Iraqi Dinar Update, your go-to source for the latest news, expert insights, and real-time developments on Iraq's currency, economy, and financial reforms. Whether you're a long-time investor or just curious about the dinar, you're in the right place. The momentum building in Iraq over the past several days is unmistakable. For those closely monitoring the country's economic transformation, especially as it pertains to its monetary reform and global financial integration, the developments of the last 3 to 4 days suggest that something significant is underway, something monumental that is rooted in years of preparation but is now accelerating into visible action. The evidence is more than just anecdotal. It's drawn from credible international engagement, institutional support, and diplomatic signaling that paints a much clearer picture than in previous years. Iraq is not only stepping forward, but it's doing so with the apparent endorsement and facilitation of the world's most powerful financial bodies. For investors and analysts who have long scrutinized Iraq's trajectory toward economic recovery and modernization, this moment marks a culmination of coordinated efforts and, perhaps, the beginning of Iraq's re-emergence on the global financial stage. In recent days, key statements and actions have emerged from international and regional players that offer compelling confirmation of Iraq's growing financial credibility. Central to this shift is Iraq's deepening engagement with the international financial system. The phrase itself, integration into the international financial system, is not just a symbolic gesture. It's an expression of real institutional convergence involving mechanisms, policies, and safeguards that place Iraq within the framework of recognized, transparent, and rules-based global economic governance. When institutions such as the International Monetary Fund, IMF, the World Bank, the United Nations, UN, and the U.S. Treasury Department speak in unison about a nation's financial reform, it signals much more than polite diplomatic language. It signals recognition of Iraq's concrete progress and a coordinated intention to assist its reintegration into a system from which it had long been estranged due to war, sanctions, and internal instability. A significant development in this transformation has been the public acknowledgement by the United Nations and other multilateral bodies that Iraq is undergoing genuine economic reform. This isn't just about stabilization or post-conflict recovery anymore. It's about structural integration. The United Nations referencing Iraq's role in the evolving global order speaks volumes. When the UN begins to talk openly about Iraq's readiness to be absorbed more fully into the global community, especially in financial terms, that suggests a shift in how Iraq is perceived not just politically, but as a functioning member of the international economic architecture. These are not off-the-cuff remarks. They reflect deliberation, consultation, and ongoing technical work involving Iraq and its global partners. The UN's position carries weight precisely because it reflects multilateral consensus, and any consensus at that level requires institutional backing, geopolitical risk assessments, and a clear picture of a country's readiness to align with global norms. Moreover, the conversation has increasingly focused on the mechanisms of financial reform. Iraq's collaboration with the IMF has long been a cornerstone of its modernization strategy, and recent indicators suggest that this collaboration has entered a more advanced phase. The IMF does not provide casual praise, nor does it issue optimistic forecasts lightly. Its technical assistance, surveillance programs, and Article 4 consultations provide detailed analyses of a country's financial and monetary systems. Iraq's engagement with the IMF has gone from basic stabilization agreements to discussions about structural reforms, central bank independence, monetary policy frameworks, exchange rate flexibility, and banking modernization. These are not superficial moves. They represent a shift from short-term survival to long-term sustainability. The fact that Iraq is being openly discussed by the IMF in these terms, alongside concrete reforms to its financial and banking architecture, indicates that the necessary infrastructure for global integration is nearing completion. The nature of the information coming out in recent days underscores that these developments are not vague or aspirational. They are backed by planning, coordination, and action. For example, in the last 72 to 96 hours, we've seen formal statements from the Central Bank of Iraq reaffirming its commitment to digital transformation, compliance with international financial reporting standards, and closer partnerships with multilateral financial institutions. What makes this moment especially powerful is the convergence of support from multiple major players at the same time. The United Nations, the U.S. Treasury, the World Bank, the IMF, Arab League member states, and regional central banks. These are not just names on a list. They represent the full spectrum of global financial governance. Their unified support suggests not only that Iraq is on the right path, but that the international system is ready to receive Iraq as a functional player. This includes access to global capital markets, enhanced creditworthiness, and eventual normalization of its exchange rate regime. Discussions of Iraq's real effective exchange rate, RER, foreign reserve accumulation, and gold purchases further support the idea that the central bank is preparing for eventual monetary normalization that aligns with international benchmarks. Indeed, all of this information taken together strongly suggests that the groundwork for a currency reform, possibly including a redenomination or revaluation, is not just theoretical. While such events are shrouded in confidentiality due to their sensitive nature and market implications, the signaling coming from multiple channels implies that Iraq is moving in that direction. Currency reforms are not enacted in a vacuum. They require macroeconomic stability, institutional credibility, foreign exchange reserves, and the backing of major financial players. Iraq now appears to be meeting those conditions in a way it hasn't before. The synchronization of policy signals, institutional engagement, and international validation suggests that Iraq's transformation is not only real but nearing a point of inflection. The cumulative data, both in terms of official statements and observed reforms, supports the conclusion that Iraq is about to enter a new era of financial sovereignty and integration. These past few days have revealed more than just incremental progress. They have shown us that Iraq is on the threshold of a much larger change, one that has the backing of global powers and multilateral institutions. For those who have been watching, waiting, and believing that Iraq's future includes full participation in the global economy with a credible and internationally recognized currency, the events of the last few days serve as powerful confirmation that this vision is coming into focus. Thanks for tuning into Iraqi Dinar Update. If you found this content helpful, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss a beat on Iraq's evolving financial landscape. Stay informed and stay ready.